Tomorrow is the last day for early voting here in the Silver State, and so far, voter turnout has been pretty low. Experts say 10 to 15% fewer people could turn up at the polls than during a typical midterm election. Paul Nelson joins us now here in the studio with more on why those numbers are so low. Paul?
Kristen, midterm elections usually get fewer voters than during a presidential election, but this is worse than expected. Washoe County has about 225,000 registered voters, and with a little more than a day left to vote early, only about 40,000 have cast their ballots.
What do you think?
That's really unique.
A lot will be decided in this year's election. 3 ballot questions could have an impact on business and education, the mining industry, and the courts. But interest remains low, partly because of the struggles both major parties are going through.
This may go down as the worst ever in Nevada history.
Fred Locken says voter turnout could be as low as 25 to 30%. Neither of Nevada's senators are up for re-election, and Brian Sandoval is expected to win the governor's race in a landslide.
That was the top of the ticket for us in many ways for the state elections, and without any real race going on there, it seems to have had a trickle effect on the way down.
More people vote early than on election day, but so far less than 20% of Washoe County's registered voters have made it to the polls.
It's been slow and steady over the full 2-week period. We're hoping that, as usual, the last 2 days bring out the most voters.
While presidential elections get much better voter turnout, Cutler says this election is just as important.
I would guess that the people at the local levels of government may have a more direct impact on your day-to-day life than those up at the federal level.
While that may be the case, some voters find it difficult to find information on the candidates.
For many, that becomes rather intimidating. They feel that they should be informed, vote, and it becomes another deciding factor for why they don't show up at the polls.
Early voting ends tomorrow at 6 p.m. and remember that when you head to the polls, you're encouraged to take your sample ballot with you. It makes the process much easier and faster for you and the volunteers. Covering Campaign 2014 live in the studio, Paul Nelson, Channel 2 News.